Hello students, welcome back in the course of water resource engineering. So till now we have discussed the various techniques, the flooding techniques, the controlled flooding, uncontrolled flooding, sprinkler, drip. These are control methods. So we have discussed the various techniques of applying of water into the farm. So now we know the technique. Now let us see what are the quality which can hamper our irrigation or which can enhance our irrigation, what are the impurities, how we can deal with them. So today we are going to learn about quality of irrigation water. So not all type of water, as human beings we cannot intake any kind of water. Okay, so we need particular kind of water for our intake to be healthy. Okay, so is in similar way plants also cannot take every kind of water. They also need, we need to we need to know the quality, some qualities which plants cannot take as the irrigation water. So water containing impurities which are injurious to plant growth is not satisfactory for irrigation. Okay, if some water is having some impurities, so it will become injurious to plant growth and is called the unsatisfactory water. So this type of water we cannot use for irrigation. The quality of suitable irrigation water is very much influenced by the constituent of the soil which is to be irrigated. So on which parameter it is depending, it will depend on the quality of soil or constituent of soil. A particular water may be harmful for irrigation on a particular soil, but the same water may be tolerable or even useful for irrigation on some other soil. What does this mean? Like if soil is having some, soil is void of some of the constituent. So if the water is having those constituent, so that type of irrigation water will become useful on that particular soil. So same type of soil irrigation water can be useful or can be rejected on different soils. The various type of impurities which make the water unfit for irrigation are classified as sediment concentration in water, total concentration of soluble salts in water, proportion of sodium ion to the other ions cations, concentration of potentially toxic elements present in the water, bicarbonate concentration as related to the concentration of calcium plus magnesium, and lastly bacterial contamination. So these are the impurities. We have to check these 6 impurities before we are using the irrigation water. So now we will deal each one of in detail. So first one is our sediment. So let us see how the impurities affect the sediment, affect the quality of water. The effect of sediment present in the irrigation water depends upon the type of irrigated land. Okay. Okay. So when fine sediment from water is deposited on sandy soil, the fertility is improved. On the other hand, if the sediment has been derived from the eroded areas, it may reduce the fertility or decrease the soil permeability. So soil permeability you can search, or in the soil mechanics geotech engineering you will be learning. So just tell me, but I think you people have learned, yeah, you know the permeability in the aquifer chapter I have taught you. So when fine sands are there deposited on sandy soil, though it will make the soil fertile. But on the other hand, if the sediment has been derived from the sediment in the water, if it is coming from sandy soil, then it will make soil fertile. But if it is coming from eroded areas, it may reduce the fertility or decrease the soil permeability. So both the things are not good. Sedimented water creates troubles in irrigation canals as it increases their siltation and maintenance cost. So sedimented water, if water is not clear, water is having some of the load, it is having some load, silt load. So it is going to increase our cost, siltation cost and maintenance. Siltation means water getting deposited to the soil pipe surface. So we have to remove it. So it will induce some cost, and maintenance also it will increase. Now second is total concentration of soluble salts. So this is like the salt concentrations are very important parameter for irrigation water. The salts of calcium, magnesium, sodium and potassium present in irrigation water may prove injurious to the plant. Okay. When present in excessive quantities, they reduce the osmotic activities of plants and may prevent adequate aeration, causing injuries to plant growth. If they are excessive, so they will interfere in the respiration of the plants, intake of water, intake of air. They interfere in the aeration process. So this and if the plant is not getting proper aeration, so its growth will get affected. The injurious effect of salts on the plant growth depend upon the concentration of salts left in the soil. The concentration of salt in water may not appear to be harmful to the plants, but the concentration of salts which remain in the soil after the saline water is used up by the plants is much more than the first and may prove to be harmful. So the concentration in water is not that much injurious as compared to the concentration of salt present in the soil. Okay. So what does this mean? This means at the beginning of irrigation with undesirable water, no harm may be evident. It is quite possible that we are not able to see any types of harm. But with the passage of time, the salt concentration in the soil may increase to be harmful level as the soil solution gets concentrated by evaporation. What is happening actually? Water is having some salt, so it is applied to soil, and that water, if it is evaporated, the water containing the salts remain in the soil. So that salt is more harmful to the plant growth. Hence the effects of salts on plant growth depend largely upon the total amount of salt present in the soil solution. So not only in the water we have to check the salt concentration, but in the soil also we have to check, because that is more harmful. The salinity concentration of the soil solution after the consumptive water has been extracted from the soil is given by. So if the salinity concentration, this term will tell us how harmful the particular irrigation water is. So this is defined as C multiplied by Q divided by Q minus Cu minus Re. So what are these things? This Q is quantity of water applied. C is concentration of salt in irrigation water. Cu is consumptive use. What is consumptive use of water? The total amount of water used by the plants for its growth. Re is effective rainfall. Okay, so Cu used, Re is coming from rainfall or some irrigation methods we are applying. Q is the water applied. So this is discharge, this is discharge, this is concentration. So Cs is the salinity concentration. The salt concentration is generally expressed in ppm, parts per million, or mg per liter also. These two are same only. Let me write, or magnesium per liter and ppm, these both are same. The critical salt concentration in the irrigation water depends upon many factors. Yet, however, amounts in excess of 700 ppm are harmful to some plants. If this CS is greater than 700 ppm, so it will be harmful for some of the plants. And if it is more than 2000 ppm, it is injurious to all type of crops. We cannot use a water having 200 ppm of salinity concentration. We cannot at all use for any type of plant. The salt concentration is generally measured by determining the electrical conductivity of water. They are directly proportional to each other. How we are going to measure this? We are going to measure this with the help of electrical conductivity, because they both are directly proportional to each other. Electrical conductivity and salinity concentration, they are proportional. If this electrical conductivity is more, this means salt concentration is more. If it is less, so it will be less. So electrical conductivity is expressed in micromores per centimeter. And one more important thing, electrical conductivity, we have to define the temperature at which we are measuring it, because with the change in temperature, electrical conductivity changes. So let us see what are the how electrical conductivity is related. So if electrical conductivity in micromoles per centimeter, these two tables are very important at 25 degree Celsius. So let us see, if it is up to 250, then that type of water is termed as low conductivity water. If it is between 250 to 750, medium 750 to 2250, high. And if it is greater than 2250 micromoles per centimeter at 25 degrees Celsius, it is very high. And these are having some what denotions: C1, C2, C3 and C4. So if the water is C4, so we know that its concentration is greater than 2250. If it is C2, then its concentration lies between 250 to 750. So if water is C1, where we can be used for irrigation for almost all crops and for almost all kinds of soil, because C1 means it is not exceeding 250. 250 is the highest limit for this. Very little salinity may develop, which may require slight leaching. So leaching, this is your homework. I will tell what is leaching in the next class. So leaching you have to search, which may require slight leaching, but it is permissible under normal irrigation practices except in soils of extremely low permeabilities. If soil is having very low permeability, then we cannot use this water also. We have to reduce the soil concentration. C2 can be used if a moderate amount of leaching occurs. Normal salt tolerant plants can be grown without much salinity controls. If the plant require normal water concentration, if it is tolerant to some salt, you can use it. C3 cannot be used on soil with restricted drainage. If drainage is restricted or permeability is very low, we cannot use. Special precautions and measures are undertaken for salinity control, and only high salt tolerant plants can be grown. C4 generally not suitable for irrigation. So we have seen how the irrigation quality can hamper the growth of water, and scientifically we have checked what is C1, C2, C3, C4, how the salinity concentration we are going to measure. So this is all for today. In the next lecture we will see more about the impurities. Thank you.